story. I'm actually myself quite curious what's going to be the story about. Alright, so first maybe I will thank you, I don't know how to pronounce it perfectly, Stichting Artisboek, for allowing me to tell the story and expose it finally, since I've been carrying on my shoulders for quite some time. But the thing is that I might need your help, and perhaps you could take some notes if you will hear some peculiarities within the story, so you can later give them so I can correct some parts. But the whole reason I'm here is that I received the it says evidence number 1, and it needs to be shared with some witnesses, so I think in this case you're going to be my witnesses, guys. Thank you. And I need to make a call to report the story so it wouldn't be forgotten anymore. So I guess we can wait for a couple of more minutes for more witnesses to join us and start the call that I've been waiting to make for quite some time. Let me check how many we have. Okay, great. Cute. Since the beginning is just me dialing the phone and trying somebody to pick it up so we can maybe start. So get seated and yeah, enjoy the story. I'm quite curious as well. Hi, yes, I'm calling to report a story that I recently received an envelope, and it was referred to call on this number. Yes, that's Klaudija with a K and at the end IJA. Yeah? You're gonna record the conversation, great. I got a paper knife, so I thought not to ruin the evidences, and later I will send you to your mail address. Just write where do you live so I can send it. And that's, I think now, I'm not sure what it is inside myself. Okay, I'll try not to ruin it that much. But wait. Okay, yes. I'm not really good with paper knives, so yeah. Yes, it's the same story that I mentioned already, and I got some evidences. Oh, I already see what is inside. Okay, I need to really be careful because there's some fragile stuff. Okay, I opened it, and I need to describe everything, yes? Alright, so I have another envelope, but this one is quite ruined. Okay, that's the first evidence. Okay, so the first envelope was clear, and the second one is scattered into pieces, and it says finished. Okay. And then I have 3 files. Do you know which one I should start? Yes, there is a description of the story. There is the extract number 1, and it's a testimony. Yes, I have everything in front of me. I should start with the story. Alright. Yes, I do have some witnesses. They are watching me right now. So everything is being recorded. It's a bit hard to talk on the phone and give you all the information and open these envelopes carefully, but I'm trying my best. Yes. It's a text with red ink, and I believe it's 4 pages as I feel it. 1 second. Yes, it's put it together with the filters up. And I should read the story, yes? Alright. I will try not to rush. I'm not the best reader. But if you have some questions, just stop me and I will go back. Just putting my paper knife. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's in order. But, okay, let's see. So, the story begins like any other stories. Sorry. Nothing in particular. Although this story carries certain peculiarities on it. Within this story, a story became the story. As any other story which starts with a story ends up being this story. This particular story evolved because people like telling stories. Okay, I'm too fast. I'm sorry. Yes, I can repeat it one more time. This story begins like any other stories. Nothing in particular. Although this story carries certain peculiarities on it. Within this story, a story becomes the story. As any other story which starts with a story ends up being the story. This particular story evolved because people like telling stories. Once a man said the story to another person, and that person repeated it to another person. The story became alive. The story became the story to tell while gathering at night, and like every other story being told at night places. This story became the most popular story to be told. As more people became involved, it became the story of that time. Nobody ever asked what the story is about. Sorry, this is quite a weird story. It's not saying anything. I will continue. The story went on even after the gatherings. The story was a morning rehearsal for a nighttime story to be repeated again. It was such a fascinating story that nobody asked any questions. This woman once said this out loud. Then it became a story to tell when somebody would fall asleep at the table. It was the story to wake people up. While listening, this story, nobody knew where the story was coming from. The story had no placement. The story was a ghost within the building. It had haunted people and made them immersed into knowing more of the story. This man once said the story is a fiction, but another claimed he had witnessed what the story was about. Yes, I'm not sure about the man that it's mentioned here, and no, this is all that it's mentioned. I'm sorry. Okay. He said he was there when the story began. Although everybody agreed the story had no beginning, he was convinced he was there at the beginning of the story. The creators of the story were lost a long time ago. Nobody really cared who said the story. The story itself became the important factor. Since the story was so important, it once appeared in a movie made by a man who said that saw it first. Sorry? About the movie, I'm not sure. Perhaps it's going to be in a testimony of the story. Yes. I'm sorry, this is all I have right now. Okay. Can I continue? Alright. So, nobody really cared who said the story. The story itself became the important factor. Since the story was so important, it once appeared in the movie made by the man who saw the movie. Sorry, I'm repeating myself. The movie retold the story as it actually appeared. People got curious about the beginning of the story, but the story had no beginning nor an ending. The story was living all the way around. The story got embedded within the minds who shared the story. Since the story had no ending, people were immersed in hearing more parts of the story. People started creating other stories to fill in this particular story. Stories got intertwined and made comfort to create the endings. Although the story was rebellious, it never wanted to be finished. People started putting meanings on the story that had no meaning within the story. And once the story disappeared, it went on outside the walls of the building. That time the story got a new shade. The story became public to others. Those others could not understand the story. The story was too complicated. It had no beginning nor an ending. Although the author of the story had declared that there was actually the beginning of the story, nobody should know because it would destroy the whole story. As all the stories, the story wanted to be independent, so it went on back and forward with no precise storytelling. It was simply the story that had appeared once and got attention because of people wanting to retell the story to others. This is the prime tool how stories go. They are told by others to others. Yes, there is some data, of course, I will tell you right now. This particular story was told around 56 times per 1 month. It has been retold in the New Matters around 60 times, and in the end the story was still unclear. But the story did not mind to be clear. The story only wanted to be heard. In the end, the story was heard by too many people, who in their own understanding had adopted the story to their own lives. There was a girl who once said she was honored to hear the story. It helped her to deal with her everyday life. Because the story had never ended, it gave people to place a fantasy on it. Those fantasies had carried the story from the storm to the sunny days. People could not let go of the story so fast, and the story was satisfied to still remain around. For a while, some thought the story would vanish by some time, but the story was too powerful to go away. The story presented a simple story that nobody could understand it in the end. It was such a simple story that one day somebody laughed at the absurdity of the story. Sorry, I'm reading way too fast. It's quite a peculiar story. Yes. I will repeat the last one again. For a while, some thought the story would vanish by some time, but the story was too powerful to go away. This story presented a simple story that nobody could understand in the end. It was such a simple story that one day some laughed about the absurdity of the story. The reason was simple: to tell a story so people would be immersed. Although the story itself had no particular meaning, the existence of the story was the most important part. In the end, I think it's the last part. In the end, the story had nothing to tell. Like any other story, it wanted to be published, but the man who was responsible for the story did not understand the means of publication. So the story remained within the walls of the building, and bits of the story went outside. People thought that the story died, and less people could hear the story. Then it became a secret language in order to share the story. The man who witnessed the story got a stroke. He was not able to tell the beginning of the story. He was not able to speak. And the story was freed from a preassumptive beginning. One morning, the story thought it had found a meaning, but in the end, it was falsification of other stories being involved with the story. That's the end part. Yes. All right. I will attach these files as well. They're a bit dirty. I'm not sure if it was from my own opening or I got it and maybe somebody else saw it. I will check on it. Yes, the next, I should take the testimony. Okay. One moment, I need some juice. Yes, I'm back. All right. I will open carefully the envelope. And there's another envelope saying it's a testimony. Oh yeah, okay. I will use my paper knife. one moment. I will just put you so I can nicely open it. Yes, I'm back. Alright, I'm carefully taking it out. Yes. It's a cutout letter, or yeah, it shows that it's been quoted. Yes, I can read it to you, but what should I do with the missing parts? Alright, I will just skip them then. So, that was 18th of March, and we knew each other for maybe days. We have, I guess, have or other. These are the missing parts. Not sure exactly where and what, but this is day of the first day had invited me for an interview, which was supposed to last 2 hours, but it became 20 hours. We, it's a cutout, all of the time. We did not a cutout together that day. Perhaps I shouldn't tell you what is cutout and just read it, and so you can at least put some points where you see that it's very important to include in the story. Alright, yes. So, we did not together that day. It was just in the building where we are living. Wanted, but it wasn't. So thought that of March to record us talking. It was, we had moments and connection. Yes, this part I think shouldn't be mentioned in the story. At that time, I was also the influence, while I am very shy. That day was camera, but I was recording. She goes up to me, out, authentic. I did not know filming. After she told me, now it is. I would have done exactly the same. I am now, as a matter of fact, father. Yesterday, the first time. I did not beforehand. Because self-conscious. It because the day after, a fight. We are not feelings. The speak for itself. Weird. Although I like it. I like so. And there's more cutouts. Yes, that's all. That's all I have. I think it's not an original copy. No, it's been printed. I think extracted. Yes. Alright, should I put it back nicely in the envelope and send it to you as well? Yes, then one moment. And then I have an envelope with nothing on it, and it's also sealed. Yes, I will open it. Yes, at the same time I asked the witnesses if they will have some parts that they found that it's important I invited them to take some notes. So we also, we also have the outside perspective on it. So maybe it will be easier to solve it completely in the end. Yes, I understand. It's another envelope. Yes, one moment then. Yes, I opened the envelope. There are multiple pages. And also cutouts. I think it's... Yes, I think it's the extract one that I once found. Alright, should I read you one by one so you can note that down? I don't think it's originals. It looks manufactured already. Alright. So, first page. Ask me questions. Let's start again from... let's make it like this. If I make a pause, a longer pause, it means it's a cutout. So for you it's easier to note it down. Yeah? Great. Thank you. Alright, I think I know what it is. I think it's the interview for the movie making of the man. Yeah. So, how were you as a child? I was not spontaneous. I was precautious. I taught myself how to write. I was bullied in my first school for no reason. Why? I don't know. There was this kid that liked to bully me. My mother took me out of that school. I think that experience made me acutely aware that I needed to, I don't know if that was, but what I did, I liked to create camps. How do you feel about that? I don't feel bad about that. I offered the kids a purpose, a structure. How old were you? That must have been kindergarten, really. I had like 2 friends. These kids, I remember their names, John and Christian. I was a bad child. We always bullied Christian. But then I would take them to a garden of a little farmhouse. There would be like a hole in the garden. I would cover it up and would tell them scary stories. And they would always wet their bed, and their mothers would come again and would tell me to stop telling these scary stories. Alright. I'm not sure if it's a follow-up page by page, but for now it looks like it. What kind of scary stories? I don't know what it was about, but it was scary. To them it was. It wasn't for you. No, it wasn't scary to me. I was telling them. Were it real stories or fictional? Yes, they were fictional, but at that age it must have been. There is no cutout, just the 3 dots at the end. I'm not sure why these are not that much cut out, because the more we go I see there's a lot of cutouts, but... When was the first time you fell in love? And I think you should know that it, as I feel right now, it's just 2 people talking. If I see that there's more joining, I will let you know. So, when was the first time you fell in love? How is this relevant? You don't remember? I was so active, is it just hard to say. What do you want to know? A cutout. I can tell you one thing. My life was perfect as I saw it up until I became 18 years old. What happened? I felt that a good Lord rejected me. I did not foresee that the drive for love and mating will become such a prominent desire. Since you were 18 years old, you had become a hunter for love? No, I was avoidant. Why? Because I like being in control of a situation. And that was kind of a motive, a pervasive way of dealing with everything. So when was the first time you fell in love? It's a cutout. How did you feel? Do you remember that moment? No. And a cutout again. Okay, this is quite hard to understand. I don't know, is it? You're auditing me. Measure your pulse. No, I cannot stand it. Don't touch me. I hate it and then you do it. I don't like you to do that. A lot of cutouts. I only wanted to check your pulse. I am. You exist. Cogito. No, I'm not sure it's the same interview at once, because it kind of looks scattered through the parts. Yes, maybe it's good to note it down. Okay. Some are also very short. Perhaps I should tell in the pages that it's one and another starts. And yeah, they're just on a white page, printing page, with red ink. Are you making an ironic statement? You can choose. I know I can choose. And a big cutout. This was one page. Yes. One moment, my ear is getting very warm from this phone. Okay, another page. Maybe I am. I know I'm in yours. Are you happy about it? Yes, very much. Why? A cutout? How come? Because it feels. And then there are again 3 dots at the end and kind of separated, so perhaps this is the end of the first part. I'm not sure, it could indicate this. Because then we come to another page and there's just one cutout and it's quite a lot of text comparing to others. So it says, it wouldn't feel good about that in a sense. Explain to me how. Maybe I'm wrong. A big cutout? Doing a love scene with a woman is the most terrible thing you can do because, you know, it is stressful. Of course, everybody thinks it is great, but it's indeed a horrible experience. I think could be a speculation about some movie involved. Yes. I'm not sure, I'm just guessing. Another is quite a lot of text. There is just 2 cutouts. And again the same font and red ink. Actually all of them are in red ink. And I believe this is something new because it doesn't follow up what was said before. But I will read it. I do it because I like it. There is this element to it which makes it interesting, although sometimes it comes to an edge where I don't like it. The edge is there all the time. That's what makes it playful and exciting, because you go further, and I feel there is this, you know, the feeling, what I am saying, it is new, it is funny. We were like this when we were children. What? This is very innocent. It is new for me. This is new for me. Because if I would have to explain this to anybody, no, I could not. I could be descriptive, you know what I mean? There is another thing, for instance. I would have never thought that, you know, that we could have such a connection and be coming from such different places. It is almost weird to say we come from different places. Maybe not. Maybe we come from the same place. Well, a big cutout? Not a chemical thing. It's not a chemical at all. I know. And a cutout. Now this is one page. We come to another. Oh, there's just 2 left and they're quite... Cut it out. Yes. I think it's again a new story. I preach for an impact every day, you said. A cutout. No, I won't. Is this statement even meaningful? It is. A cutout? It is well intended, but you cannot say that because it is contingent on all kinds. How come? I'm not gonna leave you. Okay, but you know, beyond any kind of interaction, never felt like this. I'm worried. Why? A dangerous thing. Let's talk about it. Do you want to talk about it? And then we come to the last page, which is barely a few words left. Should I read it? I think this is quite personal, since it's just something left, very specific words. I'm not sure we can, according to the contract, reveal it, but let's try. Is this platonic? You said it will be platonic. Well, a cutout. You were my subject matter. Then there is this huge gap. Fell in love. I have realized I am creating, and it's a cutout. All right. I think this is the most interesting one, and I think we should keep this as the starting point to the case. Yes, that's all I got today. And if you give me your home address, I will send it to you, and I will check with witnesses, what do they have. And I will pack everything. Should I include the scattered piece of the envelope as well? Maybe there are some sayings, or, well, you know better how to work with this, I guess. I will just put everything. Yes, thank you. Do you have any questions? All right. Yes. I will wait for your mail. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. That's some story. I will quickly put everything as it was before, so I can send it to the reporter. And I hope you also got something out of it. And if there are some questions, or maybe somebody noticed that we could solve this case and find out what actually happened, I would be up to getting some insights while I pack everything. I think I should have worn gloves, but they know I know the story. Fragile. Yes, thank you for being my witnesses. And I hope you took some notes as I asked you, so if I ever forget the story, and if there's more parts coming up from somebody, would be happy to share again. And if you have some questions, you can always ask me. And thank you for joining to this weird storytelling night.